Rolling now. So welcome, guys. What I want to go through quickly is just do a little recap. So a bit of our agenda today. I want to do a little recap as to what we've gone through, where we're at, do a little bit more role play as we then get into, there's another guest, that's cool. A bit more art of connection stuff, and then start to go through phases 2 and 3 of our consultation process. Then we're going to have some real fun and start to actually link this into what we're doing. I've got a great question of Brittany's to answer as well, and got a really simple rule that everyone can use to be able to. I call it the 48-hour rule. So Brittany, that might have given my answer away, but I will get to that as we get to the end of today's session. Okay. So let's do a little recap, guys. I want to do this just to make sure everyone is on track. I don't want people to feel overwhelmed. And I want to make sure that with what we've gone through that you are ticking the boxes as we go. And guys, we have been through a little bit. So I just want to make sure that we've recapped and everyone is feeling in control of things. So first things first, should have your 4 questions completed now. As I've said to everyone, and as I do with that module, guys, feel free to go back and revisit that all the time, because it will really help your marketing material. It will really help your content creation. It will also very much help the way that you then put different campaigns and events and things together, because obviously you really want to target them to your specific audience, to your specific niche. Okay, so they should be done. Goals should be set. Next quarterly target should be in place. And obviously, yes, we're working on some skills at the moment, but obviously everything that we're doing there with putting some marketing strategies in place and honing those skills, obviously all there to make sure that we're putting everything together to tick those targets off. Okay, then we went through programs and memberships. Guys, how have you gone with those? Nick and Sarah, I'll ask you, how have you gone with setting up they're laughing at me, so that might give my answer away. How are we going with those?
The 12-week program that we're talking about? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at it.
Yeah.
Where is it? Where did I put it?
So you have done them though, so that's cool.
Oh, there. Wait, what am I saying? What am I talking about?
You just explain what's in it.
Do you want to know what's in it, or what we're thinking, or?
The most important thing I want to know? What did you call it?
Yeah, that was something that I was still deciding on. We were like thinking about it back.
Yeah.
Threw around a few things.
Yeah.
Wanted to be shape up with Sarah, or what was the other one?
Get sexy with Sarah.
Something like that.
Well, it's appealing. It's appealing. Very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so. I think, guys, the other thing here, which I'm happy to drop this little bomb on everyone today, in a good way, of course, is that what you guys are offering and what you guys can offer in terms of your memberships. We talked about bundles, we talked about PT, we talked about semi-private. We've also talked about the fact that your market is very similar to that of something and somewhere like F45. Now, with that said and done, the results that your clients can achieve for the same price, I'm going to stand here and say would far outweigh anything that F45 do. Okay? Probably all laugh at this, but I look at F45 and I call them the Tinder of fitness businesses.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, I do, in the sense that what they've got is they've got a wonderful studio community, bright shiny lights, music pumping, and it's a disco. And instead of dancing, you're doing a fitness, you're doing a workout, realistically. Now, that's all cool. That's really appealing to the market, and I think what they've done is nail that. However, at the end of the day, what are we judged on as personal trainers? We're judged on the results that we achieve. When I look at what now, again, this isn't to bag F45. This is purely comparison. When I look at what F45 can offer versus what you guys can offer, hey, Louie, hope you're well, buddy. Cool. When I look at what F45 can offer versus what you guys can offer for a similar price point, I'm going to stand here and say that you guys can offer far more and can offer far better results, period, than F45. Okay, so that's why those programs are important, and that's why from a PT perspective or a semi-private perspective or a bundling perspective where you bring people onto a Sexy with Sarah program and they have an option there where they might do a one-on-one session with you every week and get the groups as well, or they might do a couple of...
Right. It's definitely planning in my planning there.
Sure. Or it might be the fact, and again, guys, given your market, that smaller group semi-private style of PT is going to be awesome as well, because they still get that little bit of a social element to their session being, 3 or 4 of them, but they also get the big community set or the big team training sessions, of course, that you run morning and night as well. Okay, so hope that helps. I know everyone watches the recording at some stage. I hope that helps, guys. If you have any more questions about programs, memberships, and how to set them up, obviously shoot them through in the chat thread, and I'll answer those. But again, naming your program after the result or the outcome that you want your clients to achieve is the most important thing. That's what's appealing. Okay, and I always use this one. The Ashley Bynes Bikini Body Challenge was probably the best example we've seen in recent times in terms of, again, the naming of their program. Cool. Last week we went through the art of connection, put a few people on the spot. I'm guessing everyone loved the recording because the feedback was really good. Okay, the feedback from that one's really good, and I was talking to Scotty about this on Saturday. It's actually the most fun session it's the session I enjoy most, and the reason it's the session I enjoy most is because I see so much progress in literally half an hour, just in terms of finding things in common, in terms of being able to connect with people, build rapport, have conversation, and of course, utilizing that to, again, really open up that line of communication with the person that's sitting in front of you, to then be able to, of course, bring them on as a member of your business. Okay, so today, guys, what we're going to go through, we're going to look at that again. Scotty and Louie are going to have a chat in a second. We're going to see how many things they can get in common in 2 minutes. I'll bring you both off mute in a second, but sit tight. So we're going to see how many things they've got in common. I'm going to give them 2 minutes. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to rehash, and I know that I've sent Jess and Scotty the pre-exercise questionnaire template. We're just going to go through how that conversation can form, and then going to what I want to learn a bit more about today, guys, from your perspectives, is how you run the practical phase of your assessments, okay? How you run the practical phase of your consultations. There may be some of you that are using your group sessions for that at the moment, and that's cool. But for those of you that are interested in building that PT base, there's obviously some things that I want to shed some light on today, and then we've got Brittany's question to answer later on. Okay, so Scotty and Louie, bring yourselves off mute, guys.
I'm nervous.
Here we are.
Guys, I'm going to put myself on mute, but I'm just going to count with my fingers here. I'm going to give you 2 minutes using what we talked about last week. Just a nice little recap. 2 minutes. Find out as much in common as you have with one another. If that makes sense. Okay, remember your formula: friends and family, occupation, recreation, why they're here. I will let you use health and fitness.
Beautiful.
But no PLC.
Oh.
Okay.
Kick it off, Louie.
Ready, set, go.
Oh, here we go. Scotty, mate. Oh, so you can't use PLC. Mate, mad session down at F45. Mate, does your brother or sister, do they do any training themselves?
I've only got a sister, Louie.
Oh, mate, perfect. Is she on the Gold Coast with you, or is she back home where you're from?
She's back home where I'm from.
Mate, and where is that?
That is good old Geelong.
Mate, Geelong. I've heard some stories from Geelong. Mate, what'd you get up to there before you moved up to the sunny Brisbane now?
I was working at a church. I was an altar boy.
Really? How'd you get into that?
I'm a very I'm very down to earth, very humble kind of guy. I really, praise the Lord.
Is that the cross I see tattooed on your arm of Jesus?
Yeah, exactly. This is Jesus reborn.
That's fantastic, mate. And what do you do? What do you do for work, mate?
I'm actually a coal miner.
Really? Wow. And how'd you get into that? That's quite interesting. I've got my brother's in the mines, not the same as you, but similar. How'd you get in that? How'd you get involved?
Fascination with coal.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting. All right. You can do one now.
So Louie, mate, I've seen your stuff on social media. You're quite an interesting guy. Whereabouts are you from?
Mate, I am from a little island full of interesting characters. Port Norfolk Island. You don't want to go there. And it's a beautiful place. You just don't want to go check it out. It's full of weird people there, Scotty.
Whereabouts is Norfolk Island?
Mate, just between here and New Zealand, and it's about an hour or so off Brisbane. That's where it's from.
Cool. And did you move over by yourself or with family?
I came over when I was 11 to Townsville. I came to Townsville first, and it was hot, and you couldn't swim in the ocean, so that didn't last very long. And so I was straight down to the Gold Coast, where I met Scott. That runs the fitness centre. He's a good dude.
Is he?
Yeah.
Otherwise.
Yes. He works in the coal mines.
And did you move down to the Gold Coast with family?
I moved down with... Who did I move down with? Moved down with Dad initially, because Mum was working in Townsville at the time. Moved down with Dad, and then Mum slowly followed down in the coming months.
Great. And do you still live with your dad now?
No, moved with me and my dad are quite similar. I don't know if you can relate, and we kind of butt heads, and it doesn't work out. We're better at seeing each other in small doses, me and my father, and me and my mum get along a little bit better. So I'm in with her at the moment.
Oh, cool. What does she do? What does your mum do?
She's a prison guard. She's interesting. She'd probably look after you pretty well, actually. She'd do a good job of you.
At one point in my life, I probably there would have been a chance of meeting your mum.
How's that, Bo?
Oh, the comic value was great.
What is the coal miner?
The coal miner, and look out. Okay, couple of really good points from that. One, guys, conversation flowed, which was incredible. Remember that what we're looking to do here is find some things we have in common. So, one cool one. So I think Scotty, you asked Louis asked where Scotty was from, and vice versa. Guys, what you could actually say there as the person that's asked the question, no way. Well, funny that you say that you've moved from there, because I've moved from here, and I've been here for this long, and you've been here for that. So you can actually find that common ground that way. So just some little things there, because remember what you're wanting to achieve in this initial conversation is yes, no, like, and trust factor. So from a no perspective, you want to feel like they've known you. You want them to feel like they've known you for years, like you're an old buddy that you used to sit in a pub with and drink beer on a Friday night or whatever it may be. Okay, so love the conversation. I know the girls had a good chuckle at it. But if there's one little tip and one little thing that we can work on here, it's ensuring that, again, you're finding that common ground. So, as I say, Scotty, you've moved from somewhere, and Louis moved from somewhere. You could go, no way. Well, I actually moved from here a few years ago. Hey, what did you do when you were so you make that little commonality, and you highlight that, and then you can ask them another question. But it's just so they feel like, again, just from that no, like, and trust factor. Okay, but well done, boys. That was awesome. Good fun.
Thank you, mate.
Good fun. Okay, so, and I think we ended up with 4 or 5 things in common, which was great. So I'll let you go for a little bit longer. It was good fun. So there's Art of Connection. I know the girls in Toowoomba have had some fun with that this week as well. And I think everyone that watched last week would have gone, okay, now we're starting to get a feel of that, of how important communication is with what we do, and how important it is to listen. And what the boys just did so well, even those watching on the replay, you guys would all acknowledge what the boys did so well is listen to the answer that the other gave and asked a question off the back of that, which was terrific. So well done again, boys. So how do we then use that? How do we then roll on from that into a consultation? Now, we had a little bit of role play on this last week, and I really want to take you through parts 1 and 2 today in more depth. Okay, so that initial icebreaker conversation that we've had there, and we've used, hello, how's your day been? Talked about, and obviously listened to what they've said, and then talked to, what have they been up to, and whereabouts you're working, things like that. Then we get them to the point of sitting them down and actually starting to go through our pre-screening form. Okay. Now, as we said last week, the beauty of the pre-screening form is that it's actually set out in a way, and the template's there now. It's set out in a way that actually enables you to keep building conversation and keep finding things in common that you have with, or better yet, just getting to know them. Okay, just getting to know them. And we went through last week, we talked through how that might look. Sarah and Nick did a great little role play for us. Now, what happens? Who can remember? What's the most important, if you know the answer, just jump in. What's the most important thing that we must get out of our first 10 or 15 minutes? What's the most important thing we need to know before we go and hit the studio floor and start throwing some weights around?
Goals.
Goals is the first thing you need to find. Goals is one thing you need to find out, but there's something more important than that.
The why?
Why?
Nicole's stepping.
Well, I missed that. It's just like So why? So why they want to achieve what it is they want to achieve. Now, why is it important to find that out? You can stay off mute if you want, guys. I'm happy to make this open conversation.
So you can link pain.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And why else? Why would it be helpful to know why they want to achieve what they want to achieve as you hit the studio floor with them and do some training with them?
So you can build rapport.
Yeah. Why else? You're on the right track. You are. You're 100% on the right track. So what we're looking to create on the gym floor is this. This is where they are now. This is where they want to go. What you want them to identify is that you're the bridge in between.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You want them to identify that you are that bridge, and you want them to know well and truly that you are the bridge in between. So what we look to do when we take them on the floor, and there's lots of different ways, I'm going to give you a couple of different scenarios today, guys. What we're looking to do here is use that why to take them from where they are now to where they want to go. Okay, so how does that look? Now let's roll out the example. Let's roll out an example of, I love the dad one. Surprise, surprise. I love the dad one. I love the dad one who's a little bit overweight, struggling to, who comes and sits down in front of us and gives you the reason that he just wants to get a bit fitter and healthier. And I know we've covered off on this one, guys. If someone says, I just want to get fitter and healthier, what's the next question you ask? Yeah, you don't. I could lip read that much. Yeah, you're right. Why? There's always a deeper, more meaningful reason than I just want to get a bit fitter and healthier. Even with a younger female market, I guarantee you, and again, I don't say this to sound rude, but I guarantee you that it's probably more down the lines of self-confidence, self-esteem, social pressure, etc. Almost guarantee it. So them coming out saying, I just want to get fitter and healthier, I call BS, and I say, okay, but why do you want to be fitter and healthier? And if they say, well, my friends are fit and healthy, you know it's a social pressure, self-confidence, self-esteem issue. Okay, it's important to know that. So we hit the gym floor. Now I know my dad is sitting in front of me today because at the end of the day, what he wants to do is get up, get outside and be able to run around with his kids, because it would mean nothing more to him to be able to sidestep junior and play footy and sport, whatever they did in the backyard. Okay, whatever sport they wanted to play. So we hit the gym floor. Now, what can I do with him? Actually, let's stop there. Guys, open mics again. What would you guys do what are you guys doing now from a practical perspective? What are you guys doing now? So someone says, I want to come and I want to lose some weight to be able to run around in the backyard with my son. What would you then do from a practical perspective? What would you do with them in your studios?
So,
Don't be shy.
obviously we get them in for their free 7-day pass, and then we do a free in-body scan with them, and we sit down and then we have this little matrix that we go through them about, like, what are you unhappy with, and what's the problem, what's that costing you, what's your ideal result, what would that mean to you? And then they jump on a membership and they do a free meal plan and a free PT session, and then they do fortnightly in-body scans and get followed up by their personal coach.
Okay, so let's talk about the PT session. Cool. Let's talk about the PT session there. What would you do in the PT session with them?
So obviously that's with the personal trainers in the club.
Yep.
And they obviously do a free training session with them. And I guess like what I also do with my trainers is that in that time they need to show them the value, and again be talking to them about again the value that we can provide, like the goals in their session as well.
Yep. So what's they actually do in the session though?
There's no system around it.
Cool. Guess what? We're about to create one. We're about to create one. And there's a couple of ways you can do it. And again, Louis hit the nail on the head. It does depend on the goals in terms of what we're going to do. If we have all right. Let's say we had someone that has a weight loss goal. And they haven't done a lot of training before. Okay, let's say their experience in the gym is minimal. What would you guys take them through as a workout? Doesn't matter.
I always take it back to so if they're very new, I try and find out the basic foundation movements. So where is their ability with the squat? Is it that they're at a box squat or a bodyweight squat or maybe a kettlebell squat, and then build on from there with technique.
Cool. So someone with minimal experience, you want to see how they move, yeah? Yep. So if I've got, let's say Scotty walked in and Scotty wanted to get massive, wants to get ready for summer, wants to get massive, and he wants to pump his, he wants to pump his beach muscles. He wants to pump the chest and the biceps. Would I necessarily throw him on a squat? Depends. You could to still see how he moves. But this one's a bit of a different scenario here, because what I would do with Scotty, having had the chat with him and sat him down, and Bo, this is what I want to achieve, righto, bang, let's go. So I'm going to sell the client. I'm going to give the client what he wants. And what I'm going to do in that workout is I'm going to make sure that he can perform the movements correctly. So I am cueing, being technical. But I'm also making sure that Scotty, with my guidance, is actually pushing a little bit more weight than what he would be able to do on his own. Guys, there are two things, write these down. There are two things that you want to do in this part of your consultation. Number one, you want to show that you know your stuff. You want to show that you know your stuff. You want to position yourself here. This is your opportunity to position yourself as the expert. It's your opportunity to position yourself as the specialist. I am the specialist in getting people massive. And as I'm working with Scotty on his bench, and we're working through some sets and he's resting, I'm talking to him about the fact that the bench is the best exercise for him to grow his chest. So I'm giving him what he wants. Okay, so this is going to give us that growth that you want through your chest, going to give you more confidence on the beach in summer, because I know Scotty wants to get his chest massive for summer, as an example. If go back to my dad who wants to drop a few kilos and be more agile and be able to get out in the backyard with his son, you know what? I want to see how he moves. I want to see how he squats. I want to see how he lunges. And I want to educate him that those movements are the movements that are going to make him nice and strong to be able to carry his body so that he can run around in the backyard. So I'm now linking those movements to what it is he wants to achieve and why he wants to achieve it. So this is how you start to position yourself as that expert, as that specialist. Okay? The second most important thing that you want to do in this practical phase is show them that they can't do this without you. And this is where you take them from where they are now to where they want to go, and you show that you're that bridge in between. Okay, show them that they can't do this without you. So if I go back to my dad, I'm, again, forming, cueing, being technical around his squat movement, around his lunge movement. I'm going through those basic movement patterns. I'm seeing how he moves, and I'm explaining why particular movements are going to help him achieve his goals, which I know are so important to him because he wants to be able to do this. So I'm linking squats and lunges to running around in the backyard with his kids and being agile. Thumbs up if that all makes sense. Yep, cool. So they're the two things you want to create here. Now, there are lots of ways that you can go about, as I say, there are lots of ways you can go through this, that you can go about the practical phase. One, again, depending on their experience, guys, you might throw them straight into a workout. And you might throw them straight into a full body workout. I would anticipate those of you working with more females than males, it's probably going to be more lower body based, squats, lunges, and get them doing movements, again, that they need a little bit of your help with and that are challenging. Again, you want them to feel like they can't do this without you. If you're looking more male perspective, I would imagine that you're doing more upper body than lower body stuff, but you still want to see how they move. And you still want those opportunities for two things. A, be able to show that you know your stuff. And B, show them they can't do this without you. Does anyone have any questions on that? Does that all make sense? Cool. Now, one of the best skills that you guys can develop as personal trainers is the ability to think on the spot. So depending upon their goals and why they want to achieve them, that is going to determine more often than not the process that you'll use. Now, what makes this process simpler and what makes this process more streamlined, as you guys have found and will continue to find, is obviously having that target market and having that niche that you're marketing to and that you're targeting. Because what you're going to find is that 90% of the people that come through are generally going to want to achieve the same thing. Their reasons why will be different. Okay, their reasons why will be different, but ultimately their goals will be the same, which means the way that you want to program them, train them, and take them through that initial workout will be very, very similar. Okay, does anyone have any questions on that? No? Cool, all makes sense? Great. Okay. Right, let's go to the close. Louis, let's go to you.
Go for it.
Go for it. Okay.
I got a phone call midway through, so I did miss a part of that, but I just got off the phone, so
that's okay.
I missed about part of what you said.
No, that's all right. Don't stress. I am going to put you on the spot regardless of what's just happened.
Cool.
We've just we've sat down. We've had I booked in for a consultation. We've been through the first bit. You've gotten to know me. You know what I want to achieve. You know why I want to achieve it. You've taken me for a workout.
Yep.
Okay. You've seen how I move. You've helped me on a few things. You've shown me why we do particular movements and how that's going to help me achieve what it is that I want to achieve.
Yep.
We finished our workout. What's next?
In terms of, you said closing, so I'm assuming signing you up. Is that what you're asking?
Absolutely. So take me through your sign-up process.
So I'm not sure if Scott's actually taken you through or explained to you how we do it. We do like this sales matrix thing. I'm not sure if you've heard of what we do. So I kind of subtly sell them on it before I actually get to the end of it. Cool. So I go through exactly what you said, their goals at the start, but then the why. So why? How is this affecting your life, or how is this essentially creating a poor quality of life? How's it affecting you at the moment? What's your goal outcome? If I could click my fingers and fix everything, what would it be? Cool. Then out of 10, how much does this mean to you to make a change? And then I get their budget then. The next question is like, great, how much are you able to invest per week into fixing all these problems you've got? Yep. And if it's bigger than the number, that's how I kind of sell them on the spot, but I haven't actually signed the thing. So I said I can invest $100 a week. I said, great, it only works out to be $7 a day to go here. So that easily covers that. So we'll sort out your membership as soon as we're finished here. And then I move on. That's how I do it. Then I actually go through their scan and I say, great, we're all done. Here's the meal plan. It's sent to your inbox. Let's go sort out your membership.
Cool.
That's how I do it.
Cool. What if someone wants to do PT?
Well, that's what I mean. Like, this is what I'm here to learn because I don't do the PT side.
Awesome.
Yeah. But in terms of memberships, I do that. But in terms of PT, I'm up for learning.
I love, look, I'll be honest. I love your membership side of things. Love the membership side of things. I don't want to change anything about that. Because it works.
Yeah.
It works. So PT side of things. Oh, I'll do a mock close. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
How would you do it?
Me? Well,
yeah.
If I sat down, I would do the same thing, but I would just I'd have that same process, and I'll say it's $7 a day. I'd say for my services, that easily covers your cost. And if it's ever lower, like extremely low, I just bring it up to them. I just say, like someone said, $10 a week. I say, look, this concerns me a little bit. Just based on what you've told me, you've already told me you're a 10 out of 10, and you've attempted suicide over how badly, or you don't love yourself, or you don't fit into your dress, or whatever issues they brought up, and you're only able to invest $10 a week. That does concern me a little bit. Is there a reason because of that? Do you actually have a job? Do you have a source of income? And I just ask them straight up. And some of them say, yeah, I have a job, but I'm just scared it's not going to work. I said, we offer a money back guarantee. So I'll do the same thing, but just instead of using the $7 a day for that, I'll insert my services into it. So I'll do.
Or more importantly, your program.
Yeah, program.
More importantly, your program. Okay, so you're actually selling what they want. Cool. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'll do.
Awesome. I'm going to roll through also, and thank you, buddy. I'll roll through this way, then everyone's going to have it. And then what you guys can do is actually take what you've got, take what I now tell you, put the two together, and I think you're going to have a great system and a great close. Okay, so the key here is, in the close, it is all about who? It's all about them. It's all about them. It's all about what they want to achieve and why they want to achieve it. Okay, so you would sit them down after you've done that session with them, and what you would start with is some yes sets. For those of you that have done NLP, works really well. And ultimately, what we're doing here is getting our clients to say yes, or our prospective clients to say yes. So things like, did you enjoy today's session? Yes. Can you see yourself training in this way? Yeah, I can. Great. Can you see how training this way will help you to achieve your results faster? Can you see how training this way will help you to run around in the backyard with your little fella even sooner? Yes. Then we go into how we can help them, and I call this the prescription phase. I'm not going to sell them. I'm going to prescribe the best way for them to achieve their results, because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Okay, so I might say, so based on what we've talked about, based on what we've gone through, based on the fact that it is a 10 out of 10 for you to be able to run around in the backyard with your little fella, the program that I prescribe for you would be, or the best way that we can help is this. And what I would do is present my program. Now that might be my Get Your Mojo Back program. And then I would say the Get Your Mojo Back program has been specifically designed to help mums and dads get their mojo back, to have more energy, to feel less exhausted, to drop a few kilos, and to be able to restore some balance in their life. So what I've pretty much done is gone tick, tick, tick on all of their reasons why and the goals they want to achieve in 2 sentences. Okay? Now everyone's program is going to be slightly different, but this is just an example. Then what I would go through is what's in the program. Now, guys, here's the beauty of what I've done. Those PowerPoint presentations that I sent through about that are the program templates, you just get to use this. So all of the points are on that screen. So you talk about, first thing, why obviously you created the program. Then we go through what's included. So it's this many sessions per week, or it's you get access to this and access to that, nutritional guidance and this and this and this, and you go through all those bullet points. Okay? Then what I love to do within that is actually share with them some results or a testimonial, and you would have seen this in the template. I like to share some social proof in terms of what someone's achieved. So it's not just coming from me, it's actually coming from a third party. Okay, so we use a little bit of third party validation. I think that's really important. Okay, there's nothing more powerful than someone else telling everyone else how good you are. Then what I want to do is go through the investment. And what I want to do is give them a weekly fee. I don't want to mention service. I don't want to mention per session. I want to mention a weekly membership fee, which might be $99 a week, $77 a week. Again, whatever it is that you are charging. Okay. Then I stop. And I ask them one question. Do you have any questions, or are you ready to get started? He who speaks first loses. Do you have any questions, or are you ready to get started? Now, Brittany, to answer your question, What if a client says, can I wait till next Monday? Well, first thing I'd ask them is why. That'd be the first thing. 2 seconds, guys. Sorry, they're mowing the grounds here. First question I'd ask them is why, but the rule that I have is a 48-hour rule. So that means that from the time they sign on the dotted line, so if they don't have any, so if the only question is, can I start on Monday, I'd ask them why. Oh, because it's the start of the week. Right, and why is that so important to you? Okay, so probe and probe and probe and probe. For me, it's just another excuse, and it's something that they have in their head, so quash it then and there. You might say, well, what's the difference between starting tomorrow or Friday than Monday? Oh, well, I just like starting at the start of the week. Well, is that something that you put in your own head? Because it is. It is. Now, you mightn't be as firm and blunt in saying that, but clearly that's all that it is. The rule that I have here, guys, is that once you have them signed and sealed, book them in within 48 hours. The other thing that you can do, Brittany, is say that your Monday availability is booked and get them in within 48 hours of when they've joined. Okay, so there's a couple of really, she's back. There's a couple of really easy ways to overcome that. A couple of really easy ways. Okay, the whole Monday thing, it's a reason people use to not commit. Because I dare say you're finding that people that say, can I start on Monday? And you say, yeah, I dare say you'll find some don't even show, yeah?
They only used to not show if it was like free sort of stuff, and we were asking for them to come to us. This is the person. So right now we're gaining traction with organic leads. So it might be 1, 2, 3 a day. But what's happening with those organic leads? They're actually turning into memberships quite easily, and it's really not that hard because they're wanting to come to us. And the question why I asked it now and not say 4 months ago was because I think our marketing was a little bit different. It was a bit more that we were giving free stuff and we had to beg for them to come to us. But right now they're wanting to come to us, and I haven't actually had anybody say that Monday thing until today. And it was actually a girl that messaged PLC Northgate and said, I love what you guys do. I want to come down. And it just surprised me. And I was like, that's why I'll ask the question to a high quality lead like that.
Yep. So the other thing that I really like to do, and again, I'm going to send you through some more templates this week, guys, and I'll send them through to Jess and Scotty as well. The other thing that I love to do is to have a terms and conditions form. Now, on that terms and conditions form, what you can do is actually set your list of expectations, because here's the thing. We know that we're committed to our client, but quite often what we don't find is that our clients are necessarily 100% committed to us. So as you sit down with them, or as you're sitting down and you're going through your direct debit forms and your T's and C's forms, the one thing that's really important to go through is to make sure that you start this journey on the same page. So if they're willing to go through the commitments and the bullet points that you've set, and vice versa, we know we're committed to them. We've shown that by showing them what we have to offer in the way that we can help them, and obviously the services and the products that we have to help them. On that T's and C's form, you can have your expectations of lined out. And if they agree to it and they're signing to it, I think what you're going to find is that you're going to have more people that you'll get at a better level of commitment, meaning that, can I start on Monday? Won't necessarily be a question that's asked anymore, which is great. Okay. As I say, if anyone asked me, can I start on Monday? I'd ask, what's stopping you from starting sooner? And that might be a limiting self-belief that you can quash like that gets them in the door tomorrow.
The questions I always ask when I get, like if it's anything less than a 10 out of 10 or anything, or if their budget's really extremely low, I always say, is there any reason for this? Is there anything holding you back? That's what I always use. Yeah,
100%. And even in that, if you see on the pre-exercise template that I've got, there is that 1 to 10 question. If they're not at a 9 or a 10, keep probing to get them to a 9 or a 10, guys. Okay, keep probing to get them to a 9 or a 10 before they're even starting. Okay, before you even hit the floor with them. And then, of course, at the end, my general rule is that, and what you generally find, guys, is when they say yes and they're committed and they're in, get them riding off the back of that momentum and their excitement and their energy, and get them in within 48 hours. Okay, and of course I'm talking predominantly PT here. Okay, so if we can do that, then what you're going to be able to do is set them into a really good routine going from week to week, and you're going to be able to have the session times all locked and set. Okay, the only reason that can I start Monday would be a valid reason is if they've got something pressing that they physically cannot get there. Okay, but otherwise question them as to why they're waiting for Monday. Okay, be really positive about it. Okay. All right, who's got some questions for me? Or any other questions for me? No? Cool. All right, who's got some new people to follow up this week? Yep. Who's been pumping out some PT sessions with their members and doing their best to upsell them into one of your new programs? Working on it? Certainly something, if growing that, as I say, guys, if growing that PT base is something that you're really looking for in your studios, it's the easiest way to do it. Really is. And it's one of the best things to grow your business during this time of year. At the end of the day, these people are in, they're committed. They don't have any, realistically, they have very minimal excuses. It's more reasons why they want to train and can train. If there are better ways that we can help them get to their results faster, you know what? Show them. Even if they say no, it's no problem. But reality here is if there are ways that, and again, if there is a goal there for you guys to really start to grow that sector of your business and that service within your business, great way to do it. I mean, you guys are doing great jobs with scans and people getting their free PT sessions now upon joining. My challenge to you all for this week is to take what we have now gone through in the last couple of weeks. Next week, we're going to do some role play. So we're going to put the whole lot together and going to pick on a couple of candidates to actually roll through that whole consultation process so everyone can see it in action, and then we'll critique it and move forward from there with some new stuff. But this week, with those new people that come through, book them for their free PTs and use that consultation process to bring them into your business at another level. Okay, cool. All right, and just to recap again, guys, if there's anything that you haven't yet completed before I get on to brand new stuff, you should all have your goals done, your questions done, your programs and memberships sorted by the end of this week. As I say, if you're looking at bringing people into PT, you want to be bringing them into those programs. Okay, really, really important. We've now gone through the art of connection and the consultation process. Next week, we'll put it all together. Okay, and your other little one for this week is to start using that process with all of those new members that you've got coming through into your businesses and starting to grow that PT sector of your business. Okay. Anyone got any questions for me before we go? No, Brittany, did that answer your question? Yep.
Perfectly. Thank you so much.
All right, my pleasure. Awesome. Guys, take care. Have a great week. Any new launches this week?
Scotty, Cody's calling me. Cody's calling me, by the way. Sorry, I'm going to cut this.
See you, crew.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.